I wanted to create this recipe for you because I've been refining this. As a family, we are hummus fans. Hummus is always on the table. On that note, let's do this. Let's create this. It's so simple to make. Now, a little bit of an extra spice to this and some deliciousness. I'm adding paprika. So I'm going to make half of it with paprika and half of it without paprika. And you do you. If you want to add it, go ahead. If you don't, leave it plain. It's still very delicious. Honestly, we are loving this hummus, and it's come to a point where sometimes when I run out, I get one from the store, the best I can find, and we're like, it's nothing like your hummus. And you can batch make this. You can batch cook this, put it into your freezer and take it out whenever you want to. So the first step, the first and the most important step is to cook the chickpeas. You are going to need ideally a pressure cooker. Now you can do it without. 100% soak your chickpeas overnight for 24 hours. The next day change the water and then cook it until the chickpeas are super soft. That's the key. We want the chickpeas to cook fully. I'm going to use a pressure cooker to fast track the process. Pressure cookers give you time. So wash under the water, cold water, and then empty it into a pressure cooker like this. You want the chickpeas to be covered with water, and we're going to cook this until the chickpeas turn soft. A few tips with pressure cookers, especially when cooking chickpeas. Make sure you've got enough water in this, and what we're going to do is actually add some salt into it, and we're going to squeeze a little bit of lemon. I'm just going to use this. Squeeze some lemon into the water. I'd say half a lemon. It helps whiten the chickpeas, also helps with the cooking process. I can already hear some of you saying, can't I use pre-cooked chickpeas? I'm not a fan. I've never done it. And there is something more nutritious and wholesome about cooking your own chickpeas. It's so easy to do it anyway. And if you get organic, high quality chickpeas, they cook easily and it's more tasty. It's more tasty and nutritious because when the chickpeas cook, we're not going to drain the water. We're actually going to use all the goodness that's come out of the chickpeas. Chickpeas are cooked, allowed them to cool down. So this is warm, and now we're going to put everything together. This is the best part. Okay, you are going to need a really strong blender like this one, and we are going to do this bit by bit. The first time I made hummus, after a really long time, I made the mistake by draining the water from the chickpeas, the cooked chickpeas. So this has a lot of, like, this has water in it at the moment. All the nutrients are in there, and you're getting the most refined version is my point. Okay, let's do this bit by bit. I'm still making mistakes after all this time and all this experience of being in the kitchen with food. 1, 2, and 3. You can see there's a little bit of water in there. Tahini. We are going to add the wonderful tahini. 1, 2, 3. The goal is you split that jar into 3. So we're going to do this in 3 rounds. So you use some of it on the first round, some of it on the second. I'll put the exact measurements down below in the recipe. As always, for the final recipe, go down below. I don't always do the maths in the moment, and you always get the final recipe below. So that's that. Lemon. Amazing. Salt. And garlic. Now I'm making a round of this, like a portion of this plain, and the others I'm going to add paprika. Olive oil. Oh my god. What was I thinking? 3. Lid. And blend. This one. Oh, yes, this is superb. You're gonna need glass containers like this. This is one. Look at that. So good. We're going to put that down there so it cools down. We do not want to freeze anything unless it's cooled down properly. Let's do another one up. Now, this is a little bit thick. You can make it a bit more watery by adding some of the water from the chickpeas. So adjust your texture. You know, sometimes you can get hummus which is a bit more runny, sometimes you can get it more creamy and thick. It's preference. I like it thick and creamy. I'm not a fan of watery hummus or excess tahini in hummus. There we go. That's 2. I've actually overfilled that one. Let me just add this in here. There we go. Due to high demand, the rest of the chickpeas I am going to make with paprika. And I'm going to add a bit more lemon to this round. So again, you know, play with the lemon, play with the paprika. I'm going to give you the recipe as I've made it now, but you might want to make the texture a bit more watery. So what you do is you just add some water from the chickpeas. So now let's make the second batch. You might say to me, oh, how much water goes in there? So the way I do it, I just get the ladle, fill that up. Wait, that's 1. And whatever water's in there is enough. 2 and 3. Add about half of this because we're going to make another round. Remember, we're splitting this into 3. So this is the 330 grams, 110 grams for each round. Oh. Half a lemon. I'm going to add a bit more lemon to the paprika ones. So a whole lemon. Salt. Olive oil. 3. paprika. One. Feels like I've made an absolute mess here. Perfect. Look at this texture. Oh, yes, this one's a bit more creamy, like as in softer. Fill that up too much. There we go. That's a paprika one. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Put that one there. And 3. We're going to add the rest of the tahini in here. Lemon. One. And 2. One, 2, and 3. And paprika. The end. Again, this one's a little bit more thick. Look at that. Put these here. Right? Done. Amazing hummus. That still needs to cool down. You know, when it sits overnight, all the flavors merge. So there's a place for it to rest. Once it's fully cooled down, you cover the lids and then you can place them in the freezer. There you go. And take out, if you have guests, you can take out the bigger one. If it's just for yourself, take out the smaller one. And this can sit in the fridge for 3 to 4 days after it's defrosted. You can drizzle more olive oil on top, squeeze a bit more lemon if you want, add a bit more salt. You know, you can add that on top as you're serving it. So I think this one, I'm going to be honest, is a bit too thick. So there's a bit of water left in the pan. Look, I'm going to just pour that in there. See if I can make it a bit more soft. How it's softened down a bit more now. There we go. Tips that you've seen here. See how it was a bit dry? It felt a bit too thick. I added a bit more of the water from the cooked chickpeas. So don't pour the water away. Leave it in the pot if you have some left over, because you don't know if you're going to need it. You can feel the texture. You don't want it too thick. You don't want it to be watery. Somewhere in between. Perfect. This is perfect. That one's perfect. My website is under construction at the moment. However, if you want to be the first to know, notified when it's launched with my offers, go to richbody.uk and you can sign up. You get on my email list and then I will let you know. At the moment, I am opening 2 spaces for my one-on-one 3-week mentorship called Sacred Safety. And with Sacred Safety, we go to the root of emotional eating, which is a common pattern I have seen in women that I've worked with. And it's a very deep, intimate journey. If you are a woman who has struggled or experienced a pattern that keeps coming back and you find yourself eating mindlessly, or you eat when you're physically not feeling hungry, and you've tried all the diets, you've tried all the supplements, the healthy eating, exercising, and it still keeps coming back, this is the work for you. If that's something that you're interested in, message me or email me. My email is down below in the description and I will get back to you. I have 2 spaces at the moment. I drizzled some olive oil, and the red thing on top is something we call Summac, and it's a spice. It's not chili, it's more lemony. It goes really well with hummus. And what you can do is decorate this with some parsley leaves like this. You could chop the parsley leaves on top. I like to use the leaves like this so it looks a bit more presentable. I'm leaving these 2 in the fridge because we're going to be eating this in the next few days. Those are going into the freezer. The other ones, it's gone on my dress. Thank God it's black. And if you give this a go, yeah, really let me know. Let me know how you get on. And wherever you are in the world, have a wonderful